actually a question I get worded pretty differently, but I get a lot, and I understand where you guys are coming from, and I'm going to see if I can kind of guide you in the right direction and sort of build some of that confidence back up. This comes from Seth. I work at a Chrysler dealership, and I just got promoted from express lane to the main shop, presumably as an apprentice. Lately, I seem to be in over my head on nearly everything and take longer on doing things than I feel like I should. I suppose I'm learning quite a bit, but I'm feeling stressed out and wrestling with feelings of failure. I want so much to provide for my family. I look around at guys who've been doing this for years and they seem to be able to do just fine. Is there something wrong with me? Will these feelings of self-doubt and failure ever go away, Seth? All right, Seth, dude, take a breath. I know how you feel, man. I've been exactly in those shoes, and I know how it feels, and it's so hard. You know, you spent this time in the quick lube kind of learning and figuring things out and getting your feet wet, and you come on the line as a line tech, and you look around, you know, you look at the guy next to you, and the job that takes you 2 hours takes him 25 minutes. It's tough, man. It's a tough situation. First thing you need to look at is don't worry about these guys next to you. Don't worry about the guy on your right. Don't worry about the guy on your left. You need to focus on the car that's in your bay. You need to look at what you're doing. You need to evaluate the processes that you have. But before you even get to that point, you got to understand, and you even said it in your comment, man, these guys have been doing this for years. You know, you can take a guy that's been doing it for 2 months and a guy that's been doing it for 2 years. You give them the same job. Almost all the time, the guy that's been doing it for 2 years is going to be able to do that job faster. One, he's probably done it before. If it's maintenance stuff, he's probably done it a million times before. We had a guy years ago that would always get pissed off because I turned more hours than him. But he never put in his head that I've been doing it for 7 years by the time this was going on. So of course I'm going to do a job faster. Of course I'm going to be able to do a timing belt in an hour and 15 minutes, and it would take him 5 hours. That's just the way it works. So don't compare your speed with the guy next to you. The thing you can compare to the guy next to you is your accuracy. Because you're not fast, you need to be 100% accurate. When you get fast, you still need to be 100% accurate, but you can't afford to make those mistakes. Remember, you're still learning, so you haven't seen all these things, you haven't done all these jobs, you haven't done 10,000 tune-up services where you have a process in your brain and your brain is already on the next step as you're finishing up the last step. So for me, when I do a service, let's say a 20K service, which is oil change, tire rotation and balance, air filter, pollen filter, and fuel treatment at my dealership, I have a process. I do it the exact same way every time, almost no matter what. You know, there's wrenches thrown in the plans sometimes, but I try to do it the same every time. And this is how I do it. Air filter, oil filter, take the oil cap off, raise the car, drain the oil, put the drain plug back in, lower the car halfway, do the tires, rotate and balance, put the tires back on, lower the car, fill the oil, do all the rest of the under hood stuff, put the pollen filter in, do my final checks, and roll the car out. Every single time, every single time, every single time. So I'm confident. I know I don't have to put the car back up because I left the drain plug loose. I do that sometimes to be fair, but if I'm following my process, I know the drain plug's tight because I took my wrench and I put it away. And if I didn't torque that drain plug or tighten that drain plug, my wrench is still on the oil bucket. So I know it's done because it's put away. And I don't think, okay, step 1, snug up the drain plug. Step 2, torque the drain plug. Step 3, put your tool away. It happens all in one swoop. Tighten and put away. And the more times you do that, the more confident you're going to be, the more you're going to know, I am doing this right. Now, the more you do these jobs and the more experience you have and the more comfortable you get, the more confident you'll get. And a lot of those feelings of self-doubt will go away. There'll always be sort of a nagging thing of, you know, you don't know this, you don't know this, you don't know this, you don't know this, you don't know this. But you'll sort of develop this arsenal of knowledge and you'll know a ton of stuff. And you'll look back in a year and a half and go, crap, I know a ton of stuff. You know, I can do that service 10 times faster than I could before. I don't run into all these issues with diagnosing check engine lights or rattles or wind noises or whatever. And those feelings of self-doubt and failure really, really fade away. They'll always be there. They're still there for me. There's a lot of things where, you know, I see an issue and I get a little bit of anxiety about, but dude, the anxiety only slows you down. It only hurts you. Just take it, put it over here on the shelf, and blast forward and follow the process that you know, follow the steps that you know, and rock and roll and do the thing. Now, I don't know the environment at your dealer. You may be at a dealership that is not doing right by you, and if that's the case, it may be time to go. If they're not providing you what you need to learn and get better and to be a good technician, then you need to evaluate what's going on. Is it your fault? Are you lazy? Are you not doing the things you need to do? I'm not saying you are, but that's a question you really need to ask yourself. Or is it the dealership? Is it your trainer that's not helping you, not leading you in the right direction, not explaining things to you in a way you understand? You can sort of solve a little of that by asking follow-up questions and asking questions that really clarify what he's talking about. But you need to make sure that the environment you're in is really good for you and conducive to you training and learning and understanding. So all while you feel like you're working too slow, I almost want to tell you to just slow down a little bit, maybe not physically, but mentally. Slow down, evaluate what you're doing, and if you can start to fine-tune your processes a little bit, it'll make you faster, and then you'll get faster, and then you'll get faster, and then you'll get faster, and you'll start to do these things without even thinking about them. You know, you'd be zipping an air filter off while you're talking to the guy next to you, and next thing you know, you're raising the car up because you've already done the 15 things that you would normally do in that process. So keep your head up, man. I think all of us technicians get in that funk and tend to feel that way, but it does go away over time. It does get better over time, and the more you work, the more you hustle, and the more you learn, the better off you'll be.